From the foggy swamps of Florida to the towering peaks of Washington, America is teeming with creatures that defy explanation. Meet the Skunk Ape, the Jersey Devil, and Mothman, just a few of the 50 cryptids lurking in every state. These aren't just campfire tales, they're legends woven into local culture, sparking fear, fascination, and even festivals. What if these monsters are real? Grab your flashlight and brace yourself. We diving into the shadows to uncover the truth behind America's most mysterious creatures.
Yo, 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 Frost fam! You're watching Is It Real? Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video.
Reports describe the white Thang as a towering creature, standing 8 feet tall and covered in thick, pristine white hair. Other accounts paint a picture of a white lion with glowing red eyes, resembling a kangaroo with the head of a cat. It has also been simply described as a white Sasquatch. This elusive cryptid has been spotted wandering the counties of Morgan, Etowah, and Jefferson since the 1940s. While some cynics suggest it could be an albino bear, the more popular theory among believers is that it is an albino Bigfoot. The white Thang firmly places Alabama within the broader North American Bigfoot phenomenon, offering a unique, localized variant of this widespread ape-like cryptid. An elusive hominid is a widespread phenomenon, perhaps reflecting anxieties about the wilderness or the boundaries of human civilization. The consistent recurrence of a large, hairy bipedal hominid across diverse geographical and cultural contexts in the United States indicates a deeply ingrained archetype within human collective consciousness. The addition of white as a distinguishing feature suggests how local observations or imaginative embellishments can personalize a universal concept. This highlights that while specific cryptid details are localized, the core human fascination with, or fear of, a wild, powerful, and elusive hominid is a widespread phenomenon, perhaps reflecting anxieties about the wilderness or the boundaries of human civilization. Tizheruk witnesses describe the Tizheruk as a giant sea serpent, approximately 15 feet long, equipped with a flipper. It has been reported to snatch people from docks and piers, adding a chilling element to its legend. Often dubbed the Loch Ness Monster of Alaska, the Tizheruk gained renewed attention in 2009 when grainy video footage, purportedly of the creature, resurfaced. Another Alaskan cryptid, the Qalupalik, is a creature from parents' tales, said to grab disobedient children and take them to live forever in the sea. The Tizheruk embodies the classic lake sea monster archetype, adapted to Alaska's vast and mysterious aquatic environments. Its comparison to Nessie highlights a global connection in cryptid lore, its linking of a local cryptid to a globally famous one, coupled with the fluidity of explanations for the global counterpart, is significant. For instance, discussions around the Loch Ness Monster have shifted from theories of it being a plesiosaur to possibilities like a large snake or a giant eel, based on environmental DNA findings. This pattern indicates a global cultural exchange in folklore, where well-known archetypes provide a framework for understanding local phenomena. Furthermore, the evolving scientific or pseudoscientific theories applied to international cryptids demonstrate how even in the realm of the unproven, narratives adapt to new information or popular scientific discourse. This shows the dynamic, rather than static nature of cryptid legends, even as they are localized. In Arizona, there's the Mogollon monster. This bipedal creature stands around 7 feet tall and is covered with long black or reddish-brown hair, except for its face, hands, feet, and chest. It is notorious for its huge red eyes and a terrible stench, described as a mixture of dead fish, skunk, and decaying peat moss. The state also has tales of the thunderbird, a large bird of storms. Also known as the Arizona Bigfoot, the Mogollon monster's existence is traceable to ancient Native American legends. Some tales suggest it is an exiled chief, while others believe it is a man transformed as punishment for stealing another chief's bride. The Mogollon monster is a prominent Bigfoot variant, deeply rooted in indigenous narratives showcasing the moral and cautionary dimensions often embedded in Native American folklore. The detailed origin story, explicitly linked to Native American legends, elevates the Mogollon monster beyond a mere unexplained creature. The inclusion of specific narratives, such as the creature being an exiled chief or a man transformed as punishment for stealing another chief's bride, reveals how cryptids in indigenous cultures often served as powerful moral or social allegories. These legends embody the consequences of violating tribal laws or social norms, suggesting that they were not just about fear or wonder, but functioned as integral parts of a community's ethical framework, providing cautionary tales and reinforcing cultural values. This adds a profound layer of meaning to the folklore aspect of cryptids. In Arkansas, there exists a creature similar to the Sasquatch. The people who have glimpsed this beast describe a large red-eyed creature covered in long, dark hair, standing between 7 and 10 feet tall. It is said to swing its arms like a monkey and emit a foul odor, reminiscent of a wet dog combined with a skunk. This Sasquatch-like cryptid gained national attention in the 1970s after Bobby Ford reported being attacked by a terrifying creature. It has since been the subject of 2 documentaries, where filmmakers investigated rumors of the big hairy beast. The White River Monster is another creature from Arkansas. The Fouke monster is a prominent Sasquatch-like cryptid, whose reported encounters and subsequent media attention have cemented its place in American cryptozoology. In California, there exists the legend of the Dark Watchers. These enigmatic figures are described as dark, silent silhouettes, often appearing up to 15 feet tall, lurking against the twilight sky. They are frequently depicted with flowing cloaks, wide-brimmed hats, or walking sticks, but their faces are never seen, and they never make a sound. The native Chumash tribe of California's Central Coast has known them for thousands of years, referring to them as the Old Ones. Their mystery was further popularized when author John Steinbeck wrote about these mysterious figures, advising readers to ignore them and never show interest. California also has Tahu-He, a serpent-like lake monster, which is a prominent figure in local art, signs, logos, and even a children's book series. An augmented reality gaming app, Find Tahu-He, also allows players to capture the mythical creature while learning about climate change and its impacts on freshwater ecosystems, demonstrating a modern adaptation of folklore for educational purposes. The Dark Watchers represent a unique, humanoid, ghost-like cryptid with deep historical and literary ties, reflecting the ancient spiritual connection of indigenous peoples to their land. In Colorado, people often speak about the legend of the Tommyknockers. They are described as small, mischievous creatures that are said to reside in mines. While their specific origin in Colorado folklore is not detailed, the term Tommyknockers has been used by Iowans to describe a giant hairy beast in a swampy marsh. They are often associated with the knocking sounds heard in mines, which miners believed were either warnings or omens. An alternative Colorado cryptid is the slide-rock bolter, a large whale-like monster with an immense head, small eyes, a huge mouth, and a flared tail with huge grabbing hooks. Legend says a dynamite-filled dummy flattened the mining town of Rico, and the monster has not resurfaced since a wave of sightings 100 years ago. The Tommyknockers reflect the dangers and mysteries inherent in mining environments, personifying the unseen forces within the earth. The emergence of multiple cryptids tied to a single industry like mining is not coincidental. It suggests that specific human activities and hazardous environments actively foster their own unique folklore. Tommyknockers often associated with knocking sounds. This might be a way for miners to explain strange noises or even warnings, while the destructive slide-rock bolter could be a metaphorical embodiment of the very real and ever-present danger of rock slides or collapses. This demonstrates how human interaction with and adaptation to specific, often perilous environments directly shapes the local legendary landscape, providing narratives that help make sense of the inexplicable or cope with inherent risks. In Connecticut, folks often speak of creatures known as melon heads. Those unlucky enough to encounter melon heads report tiny humans with disproportionately huge heads, bulging eyes, and wiry limbs. They are known for their violent tendencies, particularly biting people who dare to trespass on their territory. According to urban legends, they are the inbred cannibal descendants of escaped asylum patients. Drivers reportedly speed through Fairfield County to avoid being boarded by these creatures. The melon heads represent a chilling, modern urban legend that taps into fears of isolation, deformity, and violence often associated with secluded wooded areas. An alternative cryptid for Connecticut is Connie, the Connecticut River sea serpent, which is so significant that it has its own museum exhibition. highlighting the river's critical role in the state's history and legends. In Delaware, descriptions of the Selbyville swamp monster are inconsistent. Sometimes it is said to be a hairy bipedal creature, while other accounts describe a ghost-like figure. In the 1960s, an actor named Fred Stevens reportedly dressed up as this hairy monster to frighten road users, purportedly to provide a story for a newspaper editor friend. However, sightings existed before and since Stevens' hoax. The state also has the Pukwaji, described as a small trickster human. The Selbyville swamp monster embodies the mysterious and often unsettling nature of swamp folklore, with its inconsistent descriptions adding to its enigmatic quality. Down south in Florida, there are reported sightings of the skunk ape, tell terrifying tales of a large, foul-smelling, hairy, ape-like creature running upright on two legs. It is described as having the smell of rotten eggs and methane, possibly from its waste products dried on its thick, gorilla-like hair, or attributed to its diet of raw eggs from alligator nesting sites. This bipedal creature resembles an orangutan, or gorilla, covered in shaggy fur that can vary in color from brown to black. Despite digital video footage, experts remain dubious about the existence of this rarely sighted creature, Florida's answer to Bigfoot. It has a 2.2 million-acre swampland area to roam, providing plenty of hiding space. The skunk ape is the most famous cryptid associated with Florida, and reports of sightings were particularly common during the 1960s and 1970s, impacting local culture and politics, including legislative attempts to protect the creature. The skunk ape's deep cultural roots and significant impact on local tourism and politics are noteworthy. This headquarters features alleged photographs, plaster casts of footprints, campground, boat tours, and a gift shop, demonstrating how a cryptid can become central to a local economy. Dave Sharlie, a skunk ape enthusiast, established the skunk ape research headquarters in Okeechobee, Florida, serving as both a tourist attraction and a site for serious research. The phenomenon's influence extended to the legislative sphere, with Florida State Representative Hugh Paul Knuckles introducing the Skunk Ape Act in 1977, aiming to establish criminal penalties for harming anthropoid or humanoid animals. The skunk ape's enduring allure. Despite skepticism and explanations, often attributing sightings to misidentified black bears, showcases how local communities embrace and commercialize their unique folklore, transforming a mysterious creature into a cultural icon and a driver of tourism. Although the bill failed, its introduction highlights the extent to which the legend permeated local politics and public perception. The skunk ape's enduring allure. Despite skepticism and explanations, often attributing sightings to misidentified black bears, showcases how local communities embrace and commercialize their unique folklore, transforming a mysterious creature into a cultural icon and a driver of tourism. Just north of Florida is the great state of Georgia, where folks often speak of the legend of the Altamaha-ha. By all accounts, Altamaha-ha is a strange green cryptid, described as 20 to 30 feet long, with a sturgeon-like body and a bony ridge on its top. It is said to have large, protruding eyes and large, sharp teeth, swimming like a dolphin, but with the snout of a crocodile and big bug eyes. The existence of this stream dweller has been recognized by Native Americans for centuries. The legend has its roots in Muskogee tradition, who called the river Altamaha-ha, meaning big water, and told stories of a giant snake-like creature. The first non-native report was in 1830, with sightings increasing when Scottish immigrants settled in the state. A sculpture of Altamaha-ha, created by paleoartist Rick Spears, is on display at the Darien-McIntosh County Visitor Center in Darien, Georgia, serving as a tangible representation of the legend and a draw for visitors. Even today, people sometimes see a giant, strange sea creature swimming in the Altamaha River near Darien. The Altamaha-ha, or Alti, has become a significant part of Georgia's cultural heritage and tourism. Illustrate the enduring fascination with this river monster. The continued sightings, even if some are hoaxes, such as the decomposing remains found in Ardini, that were later claimed by a performance artist to be a creation of stuffed shark and papier. The integration of the Altamaha-ha into local tourism infrastructure through art and visitor centers. demonstrates how communities leverage their unique folklore to create cultural landmarks and economic opportunities. The blend of ancient indigenous tales with more recent settler accounts further enriches the narrative, showcasing the continuous evolution and adaptation of cryptid legends over time. The state of Hawaii has its own unique cryptid legend, known as the Menehune. The Menehune have not often been seen by human eyes. The rare reports describe beings of about 2 feet tall. Some witnesses have seen them as tiny as 6 inches, small enough to fit in the palm of your hand, appearing only at night to build roads, dams, and temples. The Menehune are purported to be Hawaii's own ancient aliens. Native Hawaiians feel a deep connection to nature and the spirits that inhabit their islands. Supposedly built by these mythical creatures, the entire fish pond in Kauai was created in one night. While they were thought to have left, these mythical creatures were even in the 1820 census of Kauai as a population of 65. The Menehune are a fascinating example of small, industrious, and often mischievous mythical beings deeply embedded in the indigenous culture of their state. In Idaho, there is the legend of the cryptid, known as the Sharlie. It was first described by eyewitnesses as a huge log floating in the water. Subsequent sightings described a 35 feet long beast with a dinosaur-type head, pronounced jaw, humps like a camel, and a shell-like complexion. The region's native people have long feared an evil spirit dwelling deep in Big Payette Lake. The 20th century was dotted with reports of sightings of a dinosaur-like creature. The national press initially named it Slimy Slim, but the McCall Star News changed it to Sharlie after a contest. Sharlie, also known as Slimy Slim, or the Twilight Dragon of Payette Lake, is a giant sea serpent similar to the Loch Ness Monster that has lived in Payette Lake outside of McCall for centuries. Sharlie represents a classic lake monster, a common cryptid archetype. But with unique local features and a name born from community engagement. In Illinois, there's the legend of the Enfield Horror. The Enfield Horror is reported to be a grayish 4.5 feet tall, 3-legged beast with 2 pink eyes as big as flashlights. It has been seen hopping around like a kangaroo, leaving dog-like footprints with 6 toes. This hissing tripod can leap at least 25 feet in a single bound, and may be an evil spirit or an alien, depending on who is asked. One eyewitness was asked by the local sheriff to stop telling his tale because it was attracting beer-swilling monster hunters to the neighborhood. Illinois is also known for the Thunderbird cryptid. The Enfield Horror stands out as a bizarre and unique cryptid, blending elements of alien encounters with traditional monster lore, and highlighting the sensationalism that can arise around cryptid sightings. The Beast of Busco is basically a gigantic snapping turtle that calls the state of Indiana its home. Thousands of people came to Churubusco, Indiana, in the late 1940s to witness the attempted capture of this Volkswagen-sized lake monster. Buscomania gripped the town for weeks, with hunters even introducing an alluring lady turtle to the lake in their fruitless efforts. The Beast of Busco is a testament to the power of local legend to captivate an entire community, leading to widespread public interest and even organized efforts to verify its existence. The Van Meter monster has been described by a handful of citizens as a human-shaped beast with giant bat wings that is reported by Iowans. It is said that on the monster's head was a horn that glowed like a searchlight. A reporter for the Des Moines Daily News wrote about the noise opened up again, as though Satan and a regiment of imps were coming forth for battle after the area's resident man-shaped bat escaped into a mine shaft. The monster and its imps have not been spotted since. Iowa also has a giant hairy beast in a swampy marsh. The Van Meter monster is a striking example of a winged humanoid cryptid, adding an element of the fantastical and potentially extraterrestrial to the state's folklore. The Van Meter monster has been described by a handful of citizens as a human-shaped beast with giant bat wings that is reported by Iowans. It is said that on the monster's head was a horn that glowed like a searchlight. A reporter for the Des Moines Daily News wrote about the noise opened up again, as though Satan and a regiment of imps were coming forth for battle after the area's resident man-shaped bat escaped into a mine shaft. The monster and its imps have not been spotted since. Iowa also has a giant hairy beast in a swampy marsh. The Van Meter monster is a striking example of a winged humanoid cryptid, adding an element of the fantastical and potentially extraterrestrial to the state's folklore. In the state of Kentucky, there's the urban legend of the Kelly Little Green Men, also referred to as Hopkinsville goblins. The earliest reports on the incident did not refer to little green men. That color was added later by the national media. Early sightings described them as silver with a greenish-silver glow. Space goblins was the explanation for the little silvery green men who tormented the inhabitants of the Sutton farmhouse at Kelly 1 UFO filled. August night in 1955, bullets reportedly bounce off them like metal. Kentucky also has the sheep squatch, a humanoid sheep. The Kelly Little Green Men represent a classic alien encounter story, demonstrating how cryptid narratives can intersect with UFO phenomena and become sensationalized by the media. Rougarou is most often described as having a human body with the head of a wolf. It calls the state of Louisiana its home. It is said to have glowing red eyes and razor-sharp teeth. There are multiple origin stories and mythologies behind this Cajun critter. Nominally, a werewolf, shapeshifting seems to be involved, potentially transforming into a human wolf, human otter, or wercow, depending on the curse or genetic defect. Originally called Lougarou, its name is changed into Rougarou after generations of storytelling. Locals will tell you that if you do not observe Lent properly for 7 years in a row, one could become a Rougarou. The Rougarou is a deeply ingrained part of Louisiana's rich Cajun folklore, highlighting the state's unique cultural heritage and the prevalence of shape-shifting legends. In the state of Maine, people speak of the specter moose, which has been described as an enormous, ghostly white moose, 10 to 15 feet tall, with formidable antlers. It is said to glow faintly and can appear or disappear at will. People in Maine are reportedly nice, and their local monster, a large cloud-colored moose, reflects this. Maine also has Wessie, a giant snake, and the Poca-Moonshine lake monster. The specter moose is a unique cryptid that embodies the phantom animal archetype, blending the majestic nature of a moose with supernatural ethereal qualities. In the state of Maryland, there are sightings of Chessie describe a serpent-like creature with flippers. It is said to be 25 to 40 feet long and swims like a snake to move through the water. Chessie is Chesapeake Bay's blurry Kamarashi water monster. It could be an oarfish or an alien. It has been particularly shy since video footage emerged in the 1980s, possibly due to overfishing. Maryland also has the snallygaster, a terrifying bird-met reptile chimera that snatches children and small farm animals. Chessie is a classic example of a lake sea monster, comparable to the Loch Ness Monster, demonstrating the widespread nature of aquatic cryptid legends. The Dover demon is described as having rosy orange skin and a large head on a small stick-like body, often spotted in the state of Massachusetts. It often travels on all fours and has glowing eyes. With its figure-8-shaped melon head and ability to fuse with rocks, it is believed to be either an alien or an escaped scientific experiment. It is one of the only mythical creatures to have a shade of eyeshadow named after it. The Dover demon is a peculiar and unsettling humanoid cryptid, whose alien-like features and strange behavior have cemented its place in modern cryptozoology. Witnesses described what was to become known as the Michigan Dogman as a 7-foot-tall, blue-eyed canine-like animal with the torso of a man and a fearsome howl that sounds like a human scream. In 1887, lumberjacks chased a dog into a corner. It stood on its hind legs, revealing itself as a man-dog. Despite being peaceful, the woodsman fled in terror. The Michigan Dogman represents a compelling example of a therianthrope cryptid, blending human and animal characteristics in a way that evokes both fear and fascination. In the state of Minnesota, the cryptid known as the Wendigo is described as being gaunt to the point of emaciation, its skin pulled tightly over its protruding bones. It is ash-gray and gives off a disturbing odor of decay and decomposition. The Wendigo is a human-eater, possibly cursed into its monster status for an act of cannibalism. Even a glance at this creature is said to bring death. The Wendigo is an angry, cannibalistic wind spirit. This cryptid is deeply rooted in indigenous folklore, serving as a powerful and terrifying cautionary tale against greed and cannibalism, embodying profound psychological and moral themes. The fishermen claimed they heard a zipping sound and saw a glowing object hovering above the ground. Then 3 robot-like aliens, just over 5 feet tall, exited from the craft. The carrot-headed aliens who visited 2 night fishermen on the Pascagoula River in a glowing egg-shaped spaceship may have been a symptom of the witnesses' hunger, or they might have been robots. They have not returned, seemingly satisfied with their experiments on the 2 men. Mississippi also has the 3-legged ghost, a girl ghost with 3 legs, and the Chautauqua monster, a large ape-like creature. The Pascagoula River aliens stand out as an extraterrestrial cryptid, showcasing how UFO sightings can become integrated into local folklore and generate enduring mystery. In Missouri, local reports describe Momo as a foul-smelling hairy monster that leaves 3-toed footprints. According to witnesses, the creature seemed to have no neck and was 6 to 7 feet tall. Its face was hidden in a mass of hair. If not for its 3-toed footprint, this hairy, stinky, staling hominid could be mistaken for someone's dad. Other than disrupting picnics, Momo seems fairly harmless. Missouri also has the Jimplicute, a ghost dinosaur. Distinguished by its specific physical traits and relatively benign, if unsettling, behavior. In Mississippi, the fishermen claimed they heard a zipping sound and saw a glowing object hovering above the ground. Then 3 robot-like aliens, just over 5 feet tall, exited from the craft. The carrot-headed aliens who visited 2 night fishermen on the Pascagoula River in a glowing egg-shaped spaceship may have been a symptom of the witnesses' hunger, or they might have been robots. They have not returned, seemingly satisfied with their experiments on the 2 men. Mississippi also has the 3-legged ghost, a girl ghost with 3 legs, and the Chautauqua monster, a large ape-like creature. The Pascagoula River aliens stand out as an extraterrestrial cryptid, showcasing how UFO sightings can become integrated into local folklore and generate enduring mystery. In Missouri, local reports describe Momo as a foul-smelling hairy monster that leaves 3-toed footprints. According to witnesses, the creature seemed to have no neck and was 6 to 7 feet tall. Its face was hidden in a mass of hair. If not for its 3-toed footprint, this hairy, stinky, staling hominid could be mistaken for someone's dad. Other than disrupting picnics, Momo seems fairly harmless. Missouri also has the Jimplicute, a ghost dinosaur. Distinguished by its specific physical traits and relatively benign, if unsettling, behavior. In Montana, witnesses who got a good look at Skunk-Ape described it as being nearly black, with high shoulders and a back that sloped downward, much like a hyena. While some claim it is a hoax to sell newspapers, the hoaxers reportedly captured the right tone. A terrifying combination of an alligator, a rhino, and a stench, expanded to 100 feet. Whatever it is, it caused a big stink. Nebraska also has the Walgren Lake monster, whose description is noted as obvious from its name. The Alkali Lake monster is a compelling example of a cryptid whose legend is intertwined with local media and the creation of sensational stories, highlighting the role of human ingenuity in perpetuating folklore. This monster is real. 19th century rancher killed and mounted this wolf-like creature that had pestered local natives for generations. The current owner refuses to have its DNA tested, so its true nature remains a mystery. Skunk-Ape means carries off dogs. Montana also has the Flathead Lake monster. It's described as a large, eel-shaped creature 20 to 40 feet long, with steel black eyes and undulating hips. The Flathead Lake monster has over 100 documented sightings since 1889. With witness credibility and diversity helping to keep the legend alive. The Kootenai people, indigenous to the area, told stories of a great creature inhabiting what they called Monster Lake, long before settlers arrived. Reflecting a deep connection to the lake and its mysteries. The Skunk-Ape is a unique cryptid that blurs the line between folklore and zoological mystery, with its physical specimen adding an intriguing dimension to its legend. In Nevada, legend has it that the serpent-like monster lived in a cave beneath the lake. Sightings of this 80-foot-long serpent known as Tahoe Tessie continue to this day. Tales of Tahoe's answer to Nessie date back to legends told by the Washoe and Paiute tribes. Some speculate Tessie could be a plesiosaur, or a gigantic eel rather than a monster. One of the earliest accounts of a large creature in Lake Tahoe comes from 1865. When I.C. Coggin reported seeing a massive serpent-like creature with a head 14 feet wide and a body stretching over 600 feet. Taku-He is a prominent figure in local art, signs, logos, and a children's book series. The UC Davis Tahoe Environmental Research Center developed an augmented reality gaming app, Find Taku-He, which places the mythical creature in and around Lake Tahoe. This app allows players to capture photos of Tessie, share content on social media, and learn about the impacts of climate change on the lake and its aquatic organisms. While the app states that Taku-He is not real, its characteristics are based on real aquatic organisms like the native Lahontan cutthroat trout, and its health is linked to the lake's environmental conditions. This modern adaptation of the Taku-He legend illustrates how folklore can be leveraged for educational purposes and tourism, blending mythical narratives with contemporary environmental concerns. The evolution of the legend, from indigenous tales to modern AR games, demonstrates the dynamic nature of cryptid stories and their capacity to remain culturally relevant by adapting to new mediums and societal issues. According to eyewitness reports in New Hampshire, these sleek wood devils are so good at blending in with their surroundings that one might walk into one before seeing it. All those who claim to have seen them describe them as more than 7 feet tall and covered in grayish hair. Although wood devils are more likely to flee than attack humans, locals are unnerved enough by this oversized cross between an evil spirit, a meerkat, and an alien that they have come up with a reassuring alternative. Maybe it is just a Sasquatch. New Hampshire also has devil monkeys, described as dog-faced monkeys. The wood devils are a unique humanoid cryptid, whose elusive nature and ambiguous classification contribute to their mysterious appeal. In the state of New Jersey, there are stories whereupon the newly born child's sudden transformation, it grew a goat head, hooves, bat-like wings, and a barbed tail. This creature is often depicted as a flying biped with hooves, or a bipedal kangaroo-like, or a wyvern-like creature with a horse, or goat-like head. Its cultural incorporation is notably seen in the naming of the state's National Hockey League team, the New Jersey Devils, which have played since 1982. The team's name was chosen by a poll after relocating to New Jersey, demonstrating how a local legend can become a symbol of regional identity and pride. The legend's evolution from the Leeds Devil to the Jersey Devil is attributed to colonial-era political intrigue involving the prominent Leeds family and their rivalries with figures like Benjamin Franklin. Daniel Leeds, a Quaker, was ostracized for publishing almanacs with astrological symbols, leading accusations of working for the devil and his family crest. Depicting a wyvern may have further contributed to the Leeds Devil Association. This historical context reveals how local disputes and public perception can shape and solidify a cryptid's image and narrative over centuries, transforming it into a widely recognized cultural icon that influences sports, media, and tourism. Leathery bat-like wings, horns, small arms with clawed hands, legs with cloven hooves, and a forked or pointed tail. It is also said to have a strange, elongated body and a thick tail, and is reported to move quickly while emitting a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. The legend of the Jersey Devil originated in New Jersey's Pine Barrens in the 18th century, with a common version stating that a woman named Leeds cursed her unborn 13th child to be the devil. The child, though born normally, immediately grew wings, a tail, and claws, and flew out to the Pine Barrens. The Jersey Devil, also known as the Leeds Devil, has significant cultural relevance, meeting criteria for distinction among American folklore creatures, including existing in oral tradition, inspiring belief, becoming personalized and institutionalized, being fanciful, and having a comical side. Its cultural incorporation is notably seen in the naming of the state's National Hockey League team, the New Jersey Devils, which have played since 1982. The team's name was chosen by a poll after relocating to New Jersey, demonstrating how a local legend can become a symbol of regional identity and pride. The legend's evolution from the Leeds Devil to the Jersey Devil is attributed to colonial-era political intrigue involving the prominent Leeds family and their rivalries with figures like Benjamin Franklin. Daniel Leeds, a Quaker, was ostracized for publishing almanacs with astrological symbols, leading accusations of working for the devil and his family crest. Depicting a wyvern may have further contributed to the Leeds Devil Association. This historical context reveals how local disputes and public perception can shape and solidify a cryptid's image and narrative over centuries, transforming it into a widely recognized cultural icon that influences sports, media, and tourism. Residents of the state of New Mexico describe Teratorns as having wings spanning at least 20 feet. They have pink bald heads with all black bodies and feathers covering their enormous wings. According to him, the monster had a head like a seahorse and eyes the color of a peeled onion. It also had 3 teeth and a white star on its forehead. Centuries ago, the Abenaki and Iroquois people called the creature of Champlain Lake Tatoskok. It is uncertain if it is the same boat sinking. Camera-blurring horned serpent that troubles the waters today. New York also has the White Lady, a female ghost searching for her daughter. Champ is a classic lake monster, similar to the Loch Ness Monster, with a long history of sightings and deep roots in indigenous folklore. This is another dinosaur that refuses to stay extinct. There is nothing too spooky about this airplane-sized predator, except that it should have died out 6 million years ago. New Mexico also has La Llorona, a weeping woman. Teratorns represent a fascinating example of a cryptid that challenges established paleontological knowledge, suggesting the survival of prehistoric creatures into modern times. In the state of New York in 1819, Captain Crum of the ship Bulwaga Bay saw a black monster that stretched 187 feet long. According to him, the monster had a head like a seahorse and eyes the color of a peeled onion. It also had 3 teeth and a white star on its forehead. Centuries ago, the Abenaki and Iroquois people called the creature of Champlain Lake Tatoskok. It is uncertain if it is the same boat sinking. Camera-blurring horned serpent that troubles the waters today. New York also has the White Lady, a female ghost, searching for her daughter. Champ is a classic lake monster, similar to the Loch Ness Monster, with a long history of sightings and deep roots in indigenous folklore. Residents of North Carolina have described the beast of Bladenboro as 4.5 feet long, bushy and resembling either a bear or a panther. It is said to make a sound like that of a crying baby. An angry cat that terrorizes dogs and attacks wildlife may not sound unusual until considering. Its actions include draining the blood of full-grown horses. With a rap sheet from the 1950s, its trail went cold in 2003. But locals still keep pets indoors overnight. North Carolina also has the Wampus cat, a murderous cat that was never caught. The beast of Bladenboro is a chilling example of a phantom cat cryptid, whose predatory and mysterious nature continues to instill fear and caution in the local community. In North Dakota, witnesses describe the Thunderbird as very colorful, with a lot of yellow and red tints. It has a thick neck and was reported to have a wingspan of 12 feet. A cousin of New Mexico's Teratorn, the Thunderbird possesses special powers, such as the ability to stir up storms and shoot lightning bolts from its wings. North Dakota also has Mini Wushitu, a shaggy, insanity-inducing beast. The Thunderbird is a powerful avian cryptid, deeply rooted in Native American mythology, embodying the forces of nature and celestial power. In the state of Ohio, around the year 1955, a man pulled over to help 3 human-like figures on the side of the road. He saw creatures of around 4 feet tall, with webbed hands and green leathery skin. They had frog faces, and the largest of them held a wand over its head, which was spitting sparks. A frogman in Loveland sounds sweet until one realizes it is as big as a chair, runs like a man, and has a magic wand. Ohio also has the frogman, a humanoid frog. The Loveland frogmen are a unique and whimsical humanoid cryptid, whose magical element adds a fantastical twist to their encounters. In Oklahoma, according to the rumors, this freshwater cephalopod is about the size of a horse and resembles an octopus, with long tentacles and leathery reddish-brown skin. It is speculated that this horse-sized, shark-toothed octopus in Lake's Thunderbird Ulaga. The presence of such a unique aquatic cryptid in landlocked Oklahoma contributes to the state's diverse folklore and attracts those interested in the mysterious. This phenomenon connects with the broader trend of tourism centered around cultural heritage, including tribal cultures, which are a significant attraction in Oklahoma. While the Oklahoma octopus is a specific cryptid, its role in generating interest and drawing visitors aligns with the state's efforts to promote its unique cultural tapestry. demonstrating how cryptid legends can contribute to local identity and economic activity. And 10 Killer crash-landed there in its spaceship. Standard ocean octopuses are already considered alien-like. Oklahoma also has a giant lake octopus. Fascination surrounding the Oklahoma octopus not only enriches the cultural heritage, but also fuels interest in cryptid hunting and local tourism. In the state of Oregon, one onlooker described colossal Claude's head like a camel's. Coarse gray fur, glassy eyes, and a bent snout used to push a 20-pound halibut into its mouth. The witness was forgiven for not hitting it with a boat hook. Other witnesses have described colossal Claude as being 40 feet long with a big round body, a vicious-looking tail, and an evil snake-like head. Colossal Claude is a giant serpent. Colossal Claude is a classic sea serpent cryptid, whose detailed physical descriptions from witnesses add to its compelling legend. According to witnesses in Pennsylvania, the squonk has saggy, ill-fitting skin that is covered in warts. It is ashamed of its appearance, hence the tears. This miserable creature's special superpower is its ability to escape captivity by crying itself into a pool of water and dripping away. The squonk is a hairy pig creature with warts who always cries. The squonk is a poignant and unique cryptid, whose sorrowful nature and unusual defense mechanism make it a memorable figure in folklore. The state of Rhode Island is famous for the vampire Mercy Brown. This video does not provide a physical description of vampire Mercy Brown, only that she was found perfectly preserved 2 months after her death. When late 19th century farmer George Brown's relatives kept dying without explanation, locals exhumed their graves. They found young Mercy Brown perfectly preserved, leading them to believe she was a vampire. Despite having only been dead 2 months and buried in winter, Rhode Island also has the Palatine ghost, the ghost of a girl left on a burning ship. Vampire Mercy Brown is a chilling example of a cryptid born from fear and misunderstanding surrounding death and disease, highlighting the historical belief in vampirism as an explanation for unexplained phenomena. In South Carolina, there are reports of what emerged from the lake describe a green, wet, 7-foot-tall creature. Furthermore, it has 3 fingers, red eyes, and scales. The media frenzy and subsequent cult appreciation for the lizard man followed a predictable chain of events. A strange sighting. Media attention, more sightings, followed by visits from curious tourists and monster hunters. Local businesses began selling lizard man t-shirts, and the local Chamber of Commerce encouraged the media attention as good for the community. A radio station in Columbia even offered a $1 million reward for the capture of the lizard man, though it was never claimed. The Friends of the Lizard Man Committee was formed in 2019 to preserve the legend, and in 2022, they hosted their first Stomp Festival. Named in recognition of the lizard man making imprints in the swamp mud, this event featuring lizard-themed food, children's games, live music, and sales of related merchandise drew significant crowds, demonstrating how a cryptid can become a central element of community identity and a powerful engine for local tourism. The South Carolina Emergency Management Division even humorously tweeted about the lizard man during a solar eclipse, indicating its ingrained presence in local culture. The lizard man is Lee County's very own homegrown monster, 7 foot tall, red-eyed, scaly-skinned reptile that emerged from Scaper Swamp one dark and humid night in July 1988 to scare the living daylights out of a young Lee County kid. This cryptid is true horror movie material, active since the 1980s. It will leap on your car if one tries to drive away, leaving serious scratch marks on the roof if one manages to shake it off. The lizard man of Scape or Swamp generated a significant amount of newspaper, radio, and television publicity. The media frenzy and subsequent cult appreciation for the lizard man followed a predictable chain of events. A strange sighting. Media attention. More sightings, followed by visits from curious tourists and monster hunters. Local businesses began selling lizard man t-shirts. The local Chamber of Commerce encouraged the media attention as good for the community. A radio station in Columbia even offered a $1 million reward for the capture of the lizard man, though it was never claimed. The Friends of the Lizard Man Committee was formed in 2019 to preserve the legend, and in 2022, they hosted their first Stomp Festival, named in recognition of the lizard man making imprints in the swamp mud. This event, featuring lizard-themed food, children's games, live music, and sales of related merchandise, drew significant crowds, demonstrating how a cryptid can become a central element of community identity and a powerful engine for local tourism. The South Carolina Emergency Management Division even humorously tweeted about the lizard man during a solar eclipse, indicating its ingrained presence in local culture. The Taku-He has been spotted mostly in wide-open areas in the state of South Dakota, staring creepily at witnesses, which is usually dragging some form of dead prey behind it. Often seen in a coat and top hat, Taku-He resembles Bigfoot, but is not as civilized as he appears. Sighted dozens of times in the 1970s, this hairy gentleman reportedly had a habit of tearing the genitals from local cattle. South Dakota also has the Badlands Banshee, a wailing ghost. The Taku-He is a disturbing variant of the Bigfoot archetype, whose gentlemanly appearance belies a gruesome and violent nature. Texas probably has the most widely known cryptid. The beast known as Chupacabra has no hair and needle-like fangs. It is said to have large red eyes, a row of spines down its back, and bat-like wings. This goatsucker gained fame by leaving a trail of animal corpses. Although DNA tests have revealed the attacker to be a dog, coyote, or raccoon, the vampiric cryptid has captivated the imaginations of 7 states, primarily in the Southwest, and its tale originated in Latin America. With its first purported sightings taking place in Puerto Rico, Texas also has La Chuza, a shape-shifting witch owl. The Chupacabra is a prominent example of a cryptid that has transcended regional boundaries, becoming a widespread phenomenon across the Americas. Despite scientific explanations often debunking its supernatural claims, in Utah, one thing is for sure. The cryptid Bear Lake monster is huge and looks a lot like a crocodile with a jaw similar to that of an extinct carnivorous aquatic lizard. Joseph C. Rich wrote in 1868 about an excellent opportunity for some company to bust Barnum on a dicker for the monster. If they can only catch one as a lake monster craze gripped Rich County, no one has caught it, so any prize money remains as insubstantial as the monster itself. Utah also has Old Briny, an enormous brine shrimp. The Bear Lake monster is a classic lake monster legend, whose historical context reveals how cryptid sightings could fuel local excitement and even entrepreneurial ventures. Whatever happened to Sam? Years after his disappearance, some high school students reported a monster emerging from the Vermont woods. It walked like a man, but was covered in white fur and had a pig's face. Sightings of a previously unseen pigman shortly after teenager Sam Harris. This disappearance on Halloween of 1951 suggests 2 possibilities. Either Harris transformed into a pigman, or a pre-existing pigman ate him. Vermont also has the pigman, a humanoid pig. The Northfield pigman is a chilling urban legend that combines elements of a missing person case with a monstrous transformation, creating a localized horror narrative. In Virginia, early settlers told tales of a demonic bird-like creature with a metallic beak filled with teeth. In 1909, locals reported seeing a bird-like monster with enormous wings, a long pointed bill, claws like steel hooks, and an eye in the center of its forehead. Despite having terrifying features, the snallygaster remains popular 3 centuries after its first sighting and even has a guest role in the Harry Potter universe. The snallygaster's first sighting was in Maryland during the early 1900s and has remained the talk of the town in the DMV area ever since. According to legend, the snallygaster died in Washington County, where it was overcome by the fumes of a moonshine still. Virginia also has the beast of Bladenboro, a phantom cat. The snallygaster is a unique chimera cryptid, whose terrifying attributes are paradoxically balanced by its enduring popularity and integration into popular culture and local festivities. In Washington state, some witnesses have found strange footprints, 14 inches long and 8 inches wide, with 4 toes, in the snow. Others have seen a Qalupalik, biped that stands 7 to 9 feet tall and weighs between 600 and 900 pounds. Perhaps the only monster in this bestiary with its own sitcom, Bigfoot's fame dates back hundreds of years to Native American legend, once he still makes guest appearances in the woods today. Washington also has the Lake Chelan, a winged sea lizard. Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, is arguably the most famous cryptid in North America, embodying the wild, untamed aspects of the continent's vast forests and the enduring mystery of undiscovered hominids. Its widespread recognition and cultural impact make it a quintessential American cryptid. In 1966, two couples reported the first sighting of the Mothman in the West Virginia woods. It was described as 6 to 7 feet tall with huge wings and red eyes in the center of its headless body. This winged cryptid is associated with the Point Pleasant area of West Virginia, known for its alleged sightings that began in the 1960s. It is characterized by its tall, humanoid figure, large wings, and glowing red eyes. It is said to glide through the air without flapping its wings. The Mothman's legend gained significant traction after paranormal author John Keel connected the sightings to the collapse of the Silver Bridge in 1967, which killed 46 people, suggesting a precognitive or ominous role for the creature. The Mothman has become a symbol of local pride for Point Pleasant, significantly bolstering the local economy through tourism. The town hosts an annual Mothman Festival, which began in 2002 to attract visitors and celebrate the unique local legacy. The festival, held every September, draws an estimated 10,000 to 12,000 people annually, featuring guest speakers, vendor exhibits, and hayride tours. A 12-foot-tall metallic statue of the Mothman, unveiled in 2003, stands in downtown Point Pleasant. And the Mothman Museum and Research Center opened in 2005, displaying artifacts and information related to the sightings, and contributed to the creature's status as one of the most well-known cryptids in the United States. An economic benefit illustrates how communities can reclaim and commercialize their folklore, turning a mysterious phenomenon into a celebrated cultural landmark. The 2002 horror science fiction film The Mothman Prophecies, loosely based on John Keel's book, further increased public fascination, the transformation of the Mothman from a terrifying omen to a source of local identity. In the state of Wisconsin, the Beast of Bray Road was described as having big arms, grayish-brown hair, fangs, and pointed ears. It had a long nose like a wolf and can move upright or on all fours. A spate of werewolf sightings around Elkhorn in the early 90s caught national press attention. One witness described the creature's arms like a man who had worked out a little bit, which kept panic to a minimum. Wisconsin also has phantom kangaroos, which are ghost kangaroos. Another notable cryptid is the hodog, a fearsome, hairy, fanged beast with short legs and a long tail, which is celebrated annually at the Hodog Country Music Festival in Rhinelander. This festival draws over 30,000 people each year and has a significant economic impact of over $10 million on the Rhinelander area, demonstrating how cryptids can inspire large-scale community events and tourism. The Beast of Bray Road is a prominent example of a werewolf-like cryptid, whose encounters have fueled modern cryptozoological interest and media attention. In Wyoming, a creature called the jackalope is a mythical animal described as a jackrabbit with antelope horns. While the scientific explanation for horned rabbits is known, it does not explain their purported ability to sing along with human songs. Cowboys have reported distant jackalopes joining in with campfire choruses. The American jackalope's origin is largely attributed to a hoax initiated in Douglas, Wyoming, in 1932 by Douglas Herrick and his brother, who were taxidermists. They popularized the jackalope by grafting deer antlers onto a jackrabbit carcass and selling it to a local hotel. This deliberate hoax subsequently boosted local tourism significantly. The Douglas Chamber of Commerce issues jackalope hunting licenses to tourists. It's valid only on the non-existent date of June 31st, between midnight and 2 a.m., and requiring the hunter to have an IQ between 50 and 72. Thousands of these licenses have been issued, demonstrating the playful and commercial nature of the legend. An 8-foot statue of a jackalope stands in Douglas, and the town hosts an annual Jackalope Day celebration in early June. The jackalope has permeated various aspects of popular culture, appearing in publications, music, film, television, video games. The Wyoming legislature has even considered bills to make the jackalope the state's official mythological creature. Folklorists interpret the Douglas jackalope as an example of an American tall tale used by a local community to gain wider recognition through hoaxes media attention, and annual festivals, illustrating how towns leveraged local legends for promotional purposes and to rise above anonymity. The exploration of cryptids across every U.S. state reveals a rich and diverse tapestry of folklore, reflecting the unique landscapes, historical contexts, and cultural anxieties of each region. From the bipedal hominids, like Alabama's white Thang and Florida's skunk ape, which echoed the widespread Bigfoot archetype, to the aquatic enigmas, such as Alaska's Tizheruk and Nevada's Taku-He. These creatures embody the human fascination with the unknown lurking in the wilderness and deep waters. Beyond mere tales, these cryptids often serve profound cultural functions. For indigenous communities, figures like Arizona's Mogollon monster act as moral narratives, reinforcing societal values through cautionary tales. Skunk Ape in Florida, the Mothman in West Virginia, the Jersey Devil in New Jersey, and the Jackalope in Wyoming have all transcended their folkloric origins to become integral parts of local identity and tourism. Through festivals, museums, statues, and even professional sports team mascots, communities have embraced their cryptids in environments shaped by specific industries, such as Colorado's mining regions. Cryptids like the Tommyknockers emerge as personifications of danger and the inexplicable, providing narratives to cope with inherent risks. Perhaps most compelling is the significant cultural and economic impact many of these legends have generated. The Skunk Ape in Florida, the Mothman in West Virginia, the Jersey Devil in New Jersey, and the Jackalope in Wyoming have all transcended their folkloric origins to become integral parts of local identity and tourism. Modern interpretations, such as the Taku-He app, show how ancient tales can adapt to new technologies and address contemporary issues like climate change. They are a testament to the power of storytelling to shape culture, drive economies, and keep the spirit of wonder alive in an increasingly understood world. Even as scientific explanations emerge for some sightings, the allure of the cryptid persists, fueled by human imagination and the enduring mystery of the wild. The consistent reporting by credible witnesses, as seen with Montana's Flathead Lake Monster, further sustains these narratives, illustrating the power of shared experience in shaping collective belief. Through festivals, museums, statues, and even professional sports team mascots, communities have embraced their cryptids, transforming them into valuable cultural assets and drivers of economic activity. The jackalope, originating from a deliberate hoax, particularly highlights how communities can ingeniously leverage folklore for recognition and commercial gain, demonstrating a booster impulse that turns local curiosities into widespread attractions. The dynamic nature of these legends is also apparent. In essence, American cryptids are more than just monsters. They are reflections of regional character, historical narratives, and the enduring human need to make sense of the unexplained.